students. Now I would like to discuss about the introduction of the computer networks. The first of all, we are going to be define what is a network. So here I am going to be representing one definition. A network is a interconnection of or collection interconnection of autonomous computers. So we can remember this one. An interconnection of autonomous computers is known as a network. What it mean of the autonomous computers? That means let us consider this is one computer actually, and this is another computer, and this is another computer. These computers can independently done their tasks or successfully completing their tasks independently. That means this computer has all the capabilities to take the input, processes it, and generate the output. Like this the computer also has take the input, process, and output. But either for the transmission of the information or sharing of the information or sharing of the resources, these three computers are interconnected by using wires or sometimes wireless. Then this is known as the network. So here I write that the second point, two computers are said to be interconnected. They are able to exchange the information. Suppose in first computer there is a certain value A. It is possible we are going to be access this value to the second computer here and for the third computer. Suppose the third computer has the value X. These both first and second computers are also able to access this value. That means why we are creating the network means the first basic and foremost point is for sharing of the information. In below, I am going to be representing what are the uses of the computer networks. The first one I am going to be write the resource sharing. The resources means this may be a logical resources or physical resources. The first of all I am going to be consider suppose these are the two systems or the three systems which are interconnected. That means which are in the network. Suppose let us consider we have a printer. To separately install a separate individual printer for each and every system, that is a complex as well as expensive. So hence we are going to install one printer and these three systems are collectively share this printer. Suppose the first system give the printing, then this printer is useful. In the same way, second system and third system. So this is the physical resource sharing. The logical resources means actually the data or information. So just I completed. Suppose here some A value is there that is shared by the remaining two systems. Suppose some K value is one system. The data K is shared by the all the systems. The next one is simultaneous access. That means we can use the resources one after another. Suppose when the resource is linked to even one system, the remaining all the systems or the nodes within the network are use the resources one after another. The third one is high reliability due to the alternative sources of the records. Here we are going to be observe that suppose these two systems or the two nodes are within the network. Suppose I am going to be, this is the first system and this is the second system. Suppose I am going to be transfer the data ABC from here to here. What it means actually during the transfer we are going to be remember that only one copy like a xerox copy of the original information is transferred to the destination. That means second system, right? Destination, but the original copy is here. Even in the middle of the transmission, suppose the data is lost or the data is grabbed, we are going to be pause or we are going to initiate the transmission from the source system by using the original copy of the data, right? So it is a reliability. That means we are successfully transfer the data even after number of times. The cost reduction. So in our previous example, we have explained that to install or to keep a separate printer for each and every system is expensive. So for all the systems within the network, we keep one printer. So we are going to be reduce the cost. The next use of the network is the provide the communication medium. That means here we are going to communicate each and everyone within the system either by the sending or transferring the messages or mails for we are easily communicate for the far distances at a instant of time and access the remote information. Remote information means the information at far away. We are access the information which is available. Suppose XYZ in this system, we are going to be get to the this system also remote information. Person to person communication. We are able to who communicate one to one also. Suppose these are the three systems. This is the first system, this is the second system, and this is the third system interconnected. Suppose like that. The first system is able to interconnect, send and receive the data to the second system, and the second system able to send and receive the data to the third system, as well as the third system is independently able to send and receive the data first system. That means we are going to be even establish the one to one communication. So these are the uses of the networks. The next one I am going to be write the applications of the networks. That means where we are going to be use the networks. I am not going to be describe these points because today we know that because we are well versed and well used the several networks such as especially the internet. What do you mean by the internet means network of networks. Today we most our lives are mingled or linked with the usage of the networks. So we are using in manufacturing, financial services, that means banking services, and we are also using UPIs like Phone Pay, Google Pay, like that by using the internet. And teleconferencing, we are going to be making the video and audio calls, and cable television. We know that dish TVs and something else. Information services, we are access the news channels and entertainment channels, and electronic messages. That means SMS SMSs and charts and something, Instagrams or what it may be, WhatsApp groups like that, and electronic data interchange. That means we are going to be send and receive the mails and other one, and the directory services. We are getting the some other services and logged services and cellular telephone. That means actually the cellular telephone belongs to the wireless networks. Even that is also a part of the network. So in each and everywhere today the networks is part of our life. Now I am come to the very important point. What are the different types of the networks or how we are going to be classify the networks? So depending upon the based on the geographical span, that means how many systems within a network. Suppose there are 10 to 100 systems within the network within a room, we are going to be call it as a local area network. Within a room, suppose we are establishing with 10 to 100 numbers of the systems, we are going to be call it as a LAN. Suppose within the city, within a city or within the town, we are going to be interconnecting the systems. We are going to be call it as a MAN, metropolitan area networks. Today we know that actually some CCTVs are installed several places in our city or in our town. So this is the metropolitan area network. The next one is the wide area network. That means there are so many nodes, there are so many systems within the network. These are interconnecting over the large geographical area. For example, let us consider ATMs of the banks. So one ATM in one town, another ATM in another city, another ATM in another state. But when you are go to one town to another town or one city to another city, we are able to draw or we are going to perform our financial transactions by using these ATMs. These are the best example for the wide area network. So here we are going to be divide all these networks LAN, MAN, metropolitan area network, and WAN, wide area network, based on their span. They are based on the number of nodes or how much the spreading of the network. This is the first criteria I am going to be consider. The second one is the based on the connectivity, how they are going to be transfer the data. One is the point to point networks, another one is the broadcasting network. What do you mean by the point to point network? The point to point network means, suppose let us consider there are the 3 to 4 systems, that is first system, second system, third system and fourth system. The first system is able to transfer the data directly to the second system and third system and fourth system. The second system also able to transfer the data either directly first system, second system and fourth system. The third system also able to directly transfer the data the remaining all the systems within the network. This is known as point to point. Sometimes this is also called the peer to peer network. There is nothing to be a difference, just the difference in a actually in the usage of the terms. The next one is the this is the point to point network. This is the next one is the broadcasting networks. I'm going to be explained here. Broadcasting, what do you mean by the broadcasting networks? Suppose there is only one source, that means there is only one node or one source from where we are going to be sending the data. The remaining all the nodes are just receiving. They are not able to send back. They are not has the sending capability. There are all are the receivers. Here I am going to represent R1, R2, R3 are the receivers and S is the sender. This network is the best example for the radio and TV networks. The TV channels are all are the broadcasting networks. Based on the mobility, the next parameter I am going to be consider based on the mobility, fixed networks and mobile networks. We know that the fixed networks means, for example, landline phones, simple example, or our DTH boxes, TV channel boxes, are like that. The mobile networks are actually our cellular phones and walkie talkies that may be wireless actually. So these are the mobile networks, and based on the functionality how they are going to be function. That means I just explained the point to point network. The first one is the peer to peer networks. That means each and every system within the network is able to communicate with or directly transfer or receive the data from any other system within the network. The next one is the client server network. What do you mean by the client server network? Means suppose in the same network, let us consider there are 4 to 5 systems within the network. Actually, all these systems are interconnected, but one system is represented as the server, which is the high powerful and control system of the remaining all the systems. All the data and transactions are initiated or stored within the server. The remaining systems send the request for the data to the server. The server send the response to the clients. So this one is called the client server networking, right? So suppose let we are going to be, suppose you are the children or the students, we request some money to buy something, to buy your to buy books and your needs, for your needs you request money from your parents. Suppose that, like that, the remaining all the systems within the network are depending upon the server for the accessing and performing their operations. Based on the ownership, that is the private networks and public networks. Suppose the private networks means, suppose we are going to be installing a CC cameras or LANs in our office. That means we are going to be interconnecting 2 or more nodes or 2 or more computers within our office. This is our private networks. Or we are installing CC cameras in our office or at our home. This is our private network. The public network means, suppose these are the example for the telephones and telephones and radio and TV channels. Based on the transmission media, that means what kind of the transmission, what kind of the cables or what kind of the channels or what kind of the buses we are going to be use. Please remember carefully, my dear students. Here I am going to be say that channels or cables or transmission media. I am not going to be use the term wires. Never use the term wire. We maybe call it as a bus or channel or media. So depending upon the media, we are going to be divide the networks into right guided transmission media and unguided transmission media. What do you mean by the guided transmission media? Means suppose the channel or the bus has the certain capacity and transmit the data in a particular speed and in a particular direction. But in unguided transmission, actually we are unable to assess the actually the capacity of the channel as well as the speed in which speed we are going to be transmit. We are going to we call it as a bit rate. That means transmission speed is measured in the form of bit rate. That means how many bits are transmitted per second and in which direction we are going to be transfer the data. So we are unable to determine based on the time and based on the parameters, other parameters. Next, based on the connectivity, how these nodes are connected, this is very important. That is connection oriented networks and connection less networks. Suppose what do you mean by the connection oriented networks? The connection oriented network means, suppose here I am going to be example to establish a, suppose these three or four systems has interconnected with one to another. Suppose like this. Suppose the second system or the first system is willing to transfer the data to the third system. That means the first system is willing to transfer the data to the third system. So before transmission, it is intimate that the intermediate systems, either third system or the fourth system, the lines, the transmission line is established like that. The first the connection is established and then only the data is transmitted and then the connection is released. In connection oriented, connection establishment and data transmission and connection release, these are the three major issues. In connection less networks, actually the source system, that means the system 1 instantly take the decision at the time of the transmission, not before the transmission. That means right, in connection oriented, the path is predetermined. The path is predetermined. That means first the path is established and data is transmitted. In connection oriented, in connection less, at the time of the transmission only the source, the source system or the sender actually decide the through which path the data is transmitted. So this is the difference between the connection oriented and connection less. And very important one is the final one, based on the transmission technology. What kind of the transmission technology we are going to be using? The first one is the circuit switched networks and the second one is the packet switched networks. I am going to be explain this one with a good example. Let us consider, let us consider actually, suppose there are the 3 to 4 systems within the network. Suppose let us consider this is the first, this is the second, this is the third, and this is the fourth, and this is the fifth, and this is the sixth system. Suppose the systems are interconnected like that. The systems are interconnected like that. Suppose let us consider. So we know that suppose we are going to be send the data, we are going to be consider this one is the data. The entire data is not sending at a time. The data is divided into the small chunks known as the packets. The data is divided into the packets and the each and every time one packet is transmitted. Suppose all the packets here, 1 2 3 packets of the entire data, all the packets follow the same path. All the packets will follow the same path from source to destination or from sender to receiver. We are going to be call it as a circuit switched network. This is known as a circuit switched network. That means the circuit is pre-established and the data is transmitted over the same path. What do you mean by the packet switched networks? Let us consider the 3 packets from the data or within the data. The first packet, the packet 1, I'm going to write here, follow the path 1, first node to second node to fourth node, and fourth node to sixth node. The here 1 is the source and 6 is the destination. We are come to the second packet, packet 2. The packet 2 not follow the same path. The packet 2 follow the 1, 3, 5, 6. Right? The packet 2 follows the to from source to third node to fifth node, and fifth node to the destination. In the same way, suppose the third packet or the last packet are traveling like that from source to second node, that means 1 to 2 and 2 to 5, right, from 2 to 5 and 5 to 6. So three packets are transmitted in three different paths at instant of time. This is known as a packet switched network. Okay friends, I can hope that you are understanding the basic introduction of the computer networks. Thank you.